This shop kind of is evolved organically over the years. I started this shop in my head many years ago, and then I started across town in another shop space, and I tried to get the shop going, but I wasn't there mentally. I wasn't there financially. I just wasn't old enough. I don't think I had enough ability of what this takes to get going. I think the universe sort of pushes you where you want to go, and it tells you what you want to do. And for me, this has kind of always been my guiding light. I've always wanted to get there. It sounds corny, but it's really just this constant that's been in my life is building things and fabricating. This is Quarter Tilt Creations. Your basic sheet metal stuff happens over here. I've got Rotex punches, an OBI style punch. This is Baileigh's bigger shrinker stretcher. I like this machine for some of the larger tasks that I have to do. I was just using it recently for some bumper shrinking on the 62 in there. It's a good, strong, sturdy machine. Moves the material pretty quickly. I like how the jaws are magnetic and pop right out of there, and you can switch them around. You don't need any tooling or any of that kind of stuff, so that's nice. And I like the wheel that moves up and down, so you don't have to waste a whole lot of stroke in the foot pedal to get to the material thickness between differences. It's a good machine. I like this machine. Well, I was a broke high school kid who wanted to build Toyotas, and I couldn't afford to pay anybody, so I bought a bunch of equipment and learned how to build stuff on my own. That's how that's the gist of it. That's how I got started. It evolved from there. It was a hobby that turned into a profession. I wanted to have a truck a certain way, and I couldn't afford to pay anybody to do it, so I started making parts myself and teaching myself different things. A couple smaller Lancaster styles. This is Baileigh's bead roller, the deep throat version. I had one of their earlier models, and I sold to get this one because I like the ability of the offset throat. It makes it a little bit easier for curved panels or different style shapes that you want to go back and use. This one is a little more versatile and works better for the kind of stuff that I've progressed into. A lot of different features that I like on this one better than the other one is the quick release head, so that makes it repeatable to start and stop. The variable speed drive is nice, the foot pedal is nice. So a little bit more features than the one I had before, which is kind of why I upgraded. Plenishing hammers, two different styles for different types of things. This is Baileigh's smaller version, kick shrinker stretcher. I really like this machine. It's versatile, it rolls around the shop. It's a little bit easier to move than the bigger one. I'm actually really impressed with how much material this thing can move. I didn't think it was gonna do what it can do, and it does it much better than I anticipated. And for the bang for the buck, I'm almost about ready to buy another one just because of swapping the dies. But this is a great machine for the price, the affordability, and what it can actually perform and do in the deeper throat and the amount of material it moves quickly. It's a great little tool, and I'm glad I added it to the arsenal. And in this area is kind of my machine area. I've got mills, lathes, the stuff that goes along with them, drill presses, all that kind of stuff. And then on this side of the shop, is where the bigger projects stay and live. I try to do the smaller work over there and bring it over here as I need to. I have tons of different things that I'm working on constantly, not just vintage hot rods or late model cars. It's sort of a little bit of both. Here we got a 2014 4Runner that's in. It's getting long travel suspension, wide body fenders, inner fender wells, rock sliders, and a custom made front bumper. So it's a little bit different. It's nothing really along the metal shaping lines, but it's fabrication. And I enjoy having a client like this guy that can allow me to get creative and give me a little bit more freedom on what it is we're trying to build and bring his vision to life. So this is a fun project, a little bit different, but definitely fun. This is a 1972 Datsun 240Z. It's a big project, as you can see. It's getting an LS motor in it. We're gonna supercharge that LS motor. I know he doesn't know that, but he knows it now. It's getting a bunch of work, some wide body stuff done to it, 6-speed, double wishbone modified suspension, coilovers, Willwood brakes, getting new floor pans, all the rust and repair is gonna happen at the same time that I do all the body modifications that it needs. Wheel and tire package is pretty cool. We've got some of these vintage JDM sterns that I think are really cool. Roll pan's gonna get shaved and fixed. We have some renderings that the client did for the car. It gives me something to start with anyways, at least an idea of where I'm going with the car. Obviously these cars take on sort of their own personality over time, but that's where I'm gonna try to steer the ship until we get there. I'm almost more addicted to finding old tools than I am finding old cars. I think they're great, but there's some sort of level of old tools to new tools to like, I have jobs to do and I have clients that want to get these cars moving. And I can't tell a client like, hey man, I'm still looking for a Pullmax. Could be a couple more years before we get this part done. So I think what has Baileigh done for the metal shaping world, it kind of makes some of this equipment more accessible again and not such this unicorn of the tool world, which there's nothing wrong with. I have no problem with it. I love them, but at some time I have to get the job done, and being able to get the equipment when I need it is great. This is Baileigh's mag brake. I got the 4-foot version. When I bought this, I was looking for a good finger brake. Couldn't find any that I really liked. I saw that they had this guy, and I really liked the versatility of the upper dies, the different shapes you can make. And in my field, we're always making something kind of weird and crazy, so you don't really know what you're gonna get into. And this guy has been great. I've used him for a lot of things, almost more than I ever thought he was capable of doing. They advertise it as a sheet metal brake, but I have done 1/8-inch plate with it. I've done some 3/16ths with it. It's almost my go-to machine for a lot of bending and little brackets, little doodads, little things that I need to make. This is great. It's got a real close apron on it, and it allows me to get in there and get to the parts that I really like. I really like this machine. I'm almost at a point where I've used this so much that I'm ready to buy a second one, just because it's such a used piece in the shop around here. Almost up there more than the plasma table or some of the other pieces I have. This project has been going for some time. It's a 1962 Ford unibody. It was in a field and in a barn. It's original chassis, original body. Bought here in Petaluma in 1962 originally from the client's father. Still have all the bill of sale and all the record from it, which is pretty neat. Putting this back into somewhat of a straight condition has been a chore, but it's been fun. It's a short bed, standard cab, working on all the sheet metal in the bed. The bed was pretty rotten out. If anybody's familiar with these 62s, they were one of the first years that they put an all metal bed in the Fords. So the client really wanted to keep the all metal bed, which is nostalgic and cool in my opinion, but most of it was rotten out and gone. Pretty labor intensive. The whole frame was gone through, blown it all apart, all new cross members and 4-link in the rear, and an IFS front clip was put in. The client has an original NOS 427 side oiler block from NASCAR that is getting built for the motor on this. It's got a big 871 blower on it, pretty neat motor, and of course underneath the hood there's tons of room for it. It's out at the engine builder currently, but you can see where I used the factory frame, boxed it, blended it, and then put in the front end IFS kit. Some major rust repair done. This roof was rusted out from where it sat in the barn. Tightened up a lot of the gaps in this region here. These doors never really lined up quite nice. A lot of this has been taken out and smoothed out to get the lines to come together and look right. Tightening up the interior, smoothing out years of people adding switches and radios and that kind of stuff. Getting everything cleaned up and smoothed out, and still looking like a truck, but a little bit cleaner and tighter. This is another sheet metal project I got going. It's a 56 Chevy pickup. As these trucks usually have, the whole bottom of the corners are all rotten, so there'll be some rust repair and some custom work done. The firewall has to get dealt with, which will be some custom work in there with a bead roller and that kind of stuff. So that'll be a little bit of fun. The rest of it's kind of rust repair. Original truck from California, was made in the Oakland plant, which I thought is pretty cool. So it's neat that some of these cars have a little bit of local history. You got the 62 from Petaluma here and this guy from Oakland. So it's kind of neat to bring them back to life. Hands down, their social media following helps get my name as a small shop out there. It helps people see the work that I do, and it helps people in the industry see what you can do with their machines, what other people are doing with their machines. So, and I think when you have a giant like Baileigh that has that sort of social media power, it's important for everybody to have some sort of presence on social media. And for me, Baileigh has been able to take a guy that was in his garage and post it, and people see it, and it shows the level of work that I can do. It also shows that I have some people that support me behind me, and that kind of thing that I like to have. I like to have other people showing my work instead of me just running around waving my own flags. It's kind of nice. So Baileigh's social media has helped push the name of this shop on that platform far greater than I could have pushed it by myself. They also support the people that support them and their social media, which is huge in my opinion. This is Baileigh's press brake, the BP 3305. I got this a couple years ago. Really like this machine. It's good for small shops, good capability, good repeatability. Works great for all the little stuff that I do. Really enjoy using this. Use it almost daily for different things. So I called around to a bunch of people I knew about press brakes and asked questions and what they liked about certain ones they had and things to learn, and went down that deep into the river on different types of bending and dies and all that kind of stuff, and came back to the Baileigh one after doing some research online, and different people had them, and I really liked everything about it. Its tooling capabilities, its footprint, its price, and that's why I pulled the trigger on it. And I think it's been a great addition to what I can do here at the shop. I don't run production all day long, but I feel like if I wanted to sit there and run 100 parts, I could. Mentally, I'd lose my mind, so I don't ever get to that point. But it's been great for everything that I've ever put on it. I've done quarter plate with it. I've done cross members with it. Bumper process in there is completely 100% on the press brake. Once you get over a little bit of the learning curve on how they do the input for angles and stuff like that, it's really kind of a no-brainer. It's been a great addition to the shop. So I don't regret that at all. That's been a great purchase, and I think any small shop that's looking for a little bit bigger bending capabilities, it's a great addition. That's kind of the gist of the small shop around here. It's just me, so I don't need a whole ton of room. To me, a little bit of like what we do in this industry, or like the way I look at it is it's kind of like cave paintings. I make things, and I hope that someday they'll be around long enough for somebody to look at them and wonder what we were doing back then. I joke about it all the time that they're cave paintings, but really nothing is kind of set in stone. Nothing's really forever. So what legacy do I want to leave behind? I guess I just want to be a caretaker for this craft as it moves through my timeline. Like I want to take the craft on, develop it a little bit more, keep it alive, and then hope that somebody grabs it and the spark is on their end, and they take what I've kept alive and keep that ball rolling. So like I think my legacy to be leave behind is really not my legacy. It's just this craft. I'm just another caretaker for it. I keep the ball rolling. I changed it a little bit. I add a little bit, just a flavor to it, and then I pass it along to the next guy. And maybe some of the stuff that I make sticks to the wall like a cave painting. I think that to me is what my legacy is going to be.